Paris 2024 Olympic game qualifier against Zambia. That's the first leg, so Ghana need to win and win handsomely so that we go into the second leg with that confidence. But we are here to build up for that game, that crucial game against that is Medeama against Ahly. And maybe no be catch me say, what is say Africa Real Madrid for Abakruma? And I'm saying one more so and Ahly for no. Of course, they are regarded as the biggest or the best club on the African continent, and they are taking on Medeama today at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. So you see them warming up. The likes of Anthony Modeste are all in town. Percy Tau, who plays for South Africa, he was one of the best players for South Africa in the just ended Africa Cup of Nations. He is in town. Ali Malou, the captain of the Tunisian national team, is also in the squad. So Ahly came with a full squad, and this young chap was regarded as one of the best midfielders in the just ended AFCON. That is Enam Ashua. He is also in town. So we are building up to that game, and we take a quick break. We will be right back to look at the strengths and weaknesses of both sides going into this big clash.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Total Energies 2023-24 CAF Champions League. And today we are in Kumasi on matchday 5 as Medeama take on the reigning champions Ahly in Group D. Ahly have made the 6,000 or so kilometre trip from Africa's Mediterranean coast, a trip that will take about 100 hours by car. Fair distance between the two teams. That's also the case in the group standings too, in terms of positions, with Ahly top and Medeama bottom, but not so much daylight between them in terms of points. Just 2 points covering all 4 teams. Merci.
a big day for Ghana football because Medeama will be coming up against Ahly, and we are all super excited ahead of this big game that will be played at the Baba Sports Stadium, which is live on this channel. Big one for Medeama. They need to avoid defeat in this game coming up against 11-time AFCON CAF Champions League champions, that is Ahly. They are regarded as the best team on the African continent, but Medeama, almost say everywhere we go, people want to see Medeama. Today, they have to show their inner power as they come up against Ahly. But let's go through all the groups and see how the standings are as match day 5 beckons. This is how the group looks like. This is for Group A, where Mamelodi Sundown FC are leading the pack with 7 points. TP Mazembe also have 7 points, and our second Pyramid have 4 points, and Nwandibu also have 4 points. Remember that 2 teams qualify from each group. Let's look at Group B and see how things are shaping up there, because we have ASEC Mimosas from Ivory Coast leading the pack with 10 points. They've already booked a place there. Simba are second with 5 points. Galaxies also have 4 points and are third with Wydad Casablanca. Wydad have not been too good this season. They have just 3 points. Group C also looks like this. Group C has Petro Atletico leading the pack with 8 points. Esperance from Tunisia, they have 5 points. Etoile du Sahel also have 4 points. And Al Hilal Omdurman from Sudan also have 4 points. Group D, that is where we have Ghanaian champions Medeama, but it's Ahly who are leading with 6 points. Belouizdad have 5 points and are second. The Young Africans are third with 5 points, and Medeama have 4 points. So Medeama need to win this game at all costs to stand a chance of qualifying to the next round. It's a big one, and we are looking forward to all that. I'm still here with Josiah Okokwe and of course Nanedu. Josiah, I'll start with you. Big game for Medeama. First leg, they lost by 3 goals to 0. We all praised them for the first half performance. Second half wasn't too good. A lot has happened in this 1 month. They've lost Jonathan Soa. Their Wisitila has come in, but the most important change they've made is Nebocha Kopa, their coach, coming in for Evans Adote.
Yeah, Mutala, I think there's been too many shuffles, that has gone on for Medeama. Just from the time the tournament started to the time they played their last game, or even to this game, I think there's been a lot of shuffling where they have a key player going out. They have their then coach being, if it's an upgrade, I can't tell, but then being upgraded to the technical advisor role. They have a new coach coming in. They have other players being signed. Don't forget that they've also brought in a new striker, Jerry Taylor, but unfortunately he's not starting this afternoon. And you can only imagine what went into all these, shuffling and acquisitions and sending offs and all that. They could, or they would really miss the services of Jonathan Soa. But then it's important that we acknowledge the man who would actually, tune things tactically for them on the pitch to get the job done. He's a new man coming in, but then fortunately for him, I think his services will be complemented by the services of also the technical director or advisor in Evans Adote. He is the man who actually, led Medeama to where they are currently. He won the league with them. He's the man who, led them throughout the 4 games they played earlier on in the CAF Champions League. But then how is the synergy going to be like? Are they going to work together? Because, he's going to continue exactly from where Augustine Adote left off. Is it just going to be seamless, or because, how these two people work together is actually going to determine how far Medeama can go. Now they have 2 crucial games to play, both against North African countries. One against Ahly, which we are going to witness today, and the other against Belouizdad some few days or weeks later. It's going to be key. But then it's the man. We've seen Augustine Adote. We know what he brings to the fore. We know what he's done with this team. Even when Oho was lost last season, he was the man who actually, steered them towards a title-winning season. It was the first ever they've won it. But now it's a different stage. It's a much bigger stage. Now a new man comes in. Does he have what it takes? I believe they know he has what it takes. But at the African stage, coming up against Ahly, how are things going to look like for Medeama going into this one? And maybe he needs to answer that, by the end of the game.
Nanedu, Nebocha Kopa is not new to the Ghanaian terrain. He has been with Tema Youth and Bechem United before, but this is the African stage, a completely different terrain altogether. There's been a change. Jonathan Soa, who was almost the best player for Medeama, not around anymore. Does he play a part in the game?
I think it's a big blow to Medeama Football Club. When you look at the team that won the Ghana Premier League last season, they had two top scorers. It was Jonathan Sowa and of course Vincent Atenga. But in terms of the central defensive area, they were able to replace Atenga well with those central defenders they brought in during the summer. Jonathan Sowa was the top scorer in the second round, scoring those number of goals for Medeama Football Club, and he has been key to their side in their games in the Champions League. Even if Jonathan Sowa was around, he will be out of today's game because the last game against Yanga, you remember that game, he received a 2 yellow card in that game. So it tells you Jonathan Sowa would have not been in the squad in today's game against the Ahly Football Club. So it's good for Daniel Omote to be in the squad and those players up front, Fojo, Nana Kofi Babel, and Bernardino Tete, all these players in the Medeama team. So they still have a strong squad to compete against Ahly Football Club. But I think it's going to be a difficult game. Ahly as a football club, almost lose 2 games here this particular season in the group stage of the Champions League, but they've won only 1 game. That was the game against Medeama in Egypt. They went to Yanga, it was a draw. They went to Algeria against Belouizdad, it was a draw game. And Belouizdad came to Cairo against El Ahly, that game was a draw. So they have 6 points, 3 draw games, and of course 1 win against Medeama Football Club. So it tells you Ahly Nangasa as a football club now almost struggle in getting the maximum results in some of their games that they've been playing in the CAF Championship. So it's a big game against Medeama Football Club. I think Ahly stands favourite to win this particular game, but Medeama could cause a surprise and at least get a draw in that game.
Jose, I'm looking at the table before me, and it could play a part in this. It's like a must-win game for both sides. Ahly cannot afford to lose this game or draw because Belouizdad have 5 points. Young Africans also have 5 points there. Medeama have 4 points, and it is a sure must-win for them. How does this one play in the dynamics in this game? Because it's like there's pressure on both sides.
Mutala, it's tough for Medeama. It's very tough. One of the games I think they'll be looking back and be cursing their stars for not winning is that game against Yanga when they played at home. Yeah. That game was a must-win game because if they had won that game, that would have been 2 more points added to that, and that would have put them on what? On 6.
The same point with Ahly.
Exactly. But then they failed to win it. But then 2 more games to go. How do you qualify? I think Medeama's qualification is also dependent on other results because they'll be hoping that that game between Belouizdad and Yanga will also end in a draw, so that no one picks maximum points to further stretch up the table. Because even if they should win today, that will take them to 7. Belouizdad and Young Africans will have a game. They pray it's a draw. That will be 6-6. Exactly. And that would even put them on 6-6. So 7-6-6. That's still tough. Yeah. Because their last game will be away in Algeria against Belouizdad. Can they frustrate Belouizdad and at least nick a draw from that one? But today is the match, because if they fail to win, then I'm not saying mathematically they are out. But
I now understand why people say winning your home games is crucial in the CAF Champions League.
Crucial. And you see the matchup between Ahly and Belouizdad. When Ahly failed to win at home against Belouizdad, they went away from home and they returned the favor because they didn't want Belouizdad to win and stretch. If Ahly had lost that game, Belouizdad would have been leading the pack over there. So they know how crucial it is. And they if you see one secret to winning games or advancing or making strides in the CAF Champions League is home dominant. We've seen it from TP Mazembe, we've seen it from Mamelodi Sundowns, we've seen it from Ahly, we've seen it from WAC without Casablanca, we've seen it from the top teams on the continent. That if you want to dominate, if you want to make strides, if you want to progress in this competition, you have to learn to win your home games. Because going into this, if Medeama even won all 3 games and lost all 3 away games, so they have finished with 9 points. Yeah. And 9 points would have been
enough to qualify
you. Now you are on 4. You have just 1 home game, 1 away game. And unfortunately for them, they are facing the 2 biggest teams in the group, Ahly and Belouizdad away. Today they have to win at all costs and hope that game between Yanga and Belouizdad, at least they split the point. Then it keeps the table very, very narrow and
open. Not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not in your hands.
That's what I'm saying. That it's mathematically it's not impossible for Medeama to win their next 2 games. But then we know the chances. It's very, very slim for them to win at home against Ahly and go away in Algeria and also win against Belouizdad. But then the most important game is the game they have to play today.
Okay.
So we move to 7. Hope the other game ends in a draw. Then at least you go to Belouizdad and try and get something from there.
Well, Medeama's destiny is not in their hands. They have to control what they can control. That is win their game against Ahly. But let's do a flashback of the first leg and how things pan out, because it was a great defensive display from Medeama in the first half. We all praise them, but the second half, Ahly showed their quality and they crumpled. Nanedu, first half no, Ubia so Maya, the second half, you cannot defend for 90 minutes against Ahly.
I think the 3 goals came after the 60th minute.
Yeah.
So Oko Egypt against Ahly Football Club. Now to me about the full 45 minutes without conceding against Ahly. A more confidence when you are hosting them in Ghana. And I doubt this Medeama team. I agree with Josiah that draw against Yanga could be one of the reasons why Medeama may not qualify, because all home games in the CAF Champions League, all the home games, what they are very strong, say you need to find a way to pick the maximum 9 points out of the 3 games that you played at home, and at least 1 away point you are likely to qualify to the next one of the competition. Especially when you are in a group. So far, teams need to be extra good to win games. Look at Belouizdad. Belouizdad has won only 1 game in the group. Look at Yanga. Yanga is a football club. Apart from their game they won against Medeama, they've not won any game in the group. So all the 4 teams in that particular group, 1 win per Obianya. Obianya beyond a win. Medeama winning 1. Ahly winning 1. Yanga winning 1, Belouizdad winning 1. But the only thing they say, Ahly Football Club, what throughout 3 games. So equal to 1 win, making it 2. That is why they're having 6 points. Now you are playing Ahly Football Club, who are desperate to qualify. Then you move to Algeria, a difficult grounds. So a man won more ball, but last home games, advantage to qualify from that particular group. So Yanga playing Belouizdad in Tanzania. And their last game is against Ahly in Egypt. So it makes Ahly and Belouizdad favorite to qualify from this particular group. That is why the North African team have a rich experience in playing the group stage of the CAF Champions League.
One thing that is not helping Ahly, not helping Medeama, is their defense. They've conceded a lot of goals. So far, they are the team to have conceded the highest goals in the group. 8 goals and scored just 3. Josiah.
Not just from the group, but in the entirety of the competition.
Yeah.
They've shipped in the most goals, and they are not scoring that many. I think their 3 goals they've scored is also, to some extent, the second lowest or so in the competition. These 3 goals and 3 different scorers. Kamaradini, Lomote is one of their scorers, and also Jonathan Soa is the other scorer. I think, if you really want to maintain your status as a top club, elite, you really want to progress, Mutala, sorry, one of the things you have to look at is your defense, how you defend. I wouldn't give them so much credit for what they did at Ahly, because if you have checked the numbers, in the first half, they managed only 30% possession. Then that even decreased in the second half. They managed 24% possession in the second half. That should tell you that even Ahly, after failing to what? To find the back of the net in the first half, went into races, came back and what? And just upped their game. So it means in the second half, Medeama failed to up their game. Because if you have it, or you have 30% possession in the first half, you go to recess, you are back and you have 24%. It means you gifted the ball to your opponent, and that was why they were punished. And you look at the defending they did when they traveled to Egypt. It was just awful.
I am looking at that lineup for that game they played in Egypt, and it was a 3-back system with Asma, Abdullah, and Kujo, with Baba Musa sitting in front of them, and Fatah and Kamaradini
that was on
playing
paper
as a wing back.
That was on paper. Literally, they played with an 8-man defense, and that was why they allowed the Egyptians to come into the game. They need to play with confidence. They really need to play with confidence, because if you always choose to sit deep, and what doesn't even bode well for them is the fact that even in the 2 home games they've played, the 1-1 draw and also the 2-1 win over Belouizdad, they've considered at home. You look at the group, and Ahly have considered only just 1 goal so far, and that was when they considered in Tanzania against Yanga. And just look at, count the number of bodies you have in the box, and that's typical Medeama when they are defended. And it looks like, yes, we have numbers in the box, but then the organization is so poor, because you have 3 people not doing anything at all. From Baba Musa,
so there's
18-yard box. But then look at those involved in the play, and just look at, if you just keep this still, just look at the players
against 4.
Just 4 players or 2 players going for 1 ball. Look at the organization. It's just poor.
So you had bodies in the box, but they were not marking.
They were not organized.
Okay.
It's organization. You need to be organized. You need to know what you are doing at a particular time. Now, if you have this still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in no man's land. Just count the players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in no man's land. So it's not just about having bodies in the box, but it's about being organized. And who is organizing them? Ask yourself. Who is setting the offside trap? Ask yourself. Because someone is playing the striker onside, and that's Karaba. Someone is playing him onside. So you need, yes, you need to have numbers in the box. I think it starts from what? The first attacker. If it's Bernardino, Tete, whoever is playing out front today, the person should start from
We'll go through the lineup shortly.
I've spoken about this several times, that when you are playing against the North Africans, one thing they do so well is to intimidate you. So if you are playing at home, you need confidence. You don't have to feel intimidated, especially when you are playing at home. They are full of confidence. They force you to make errors. We saw it when Ghana played Egypt. I've said this before. They love to force you to what? Even when they are not playing well, they keep their confidence up there. Because once you make a mistake, they capitalize. So today, going into this game, Medeama should be full of confidence. They shouldn't be scared of trying something. They shouldn't be scared of stringing the passes together. We saw that when they played against Belouizdad. It came in the dying embers of the game. And look at what happened. It was a win for them. Going into this game, they need to be full of confidence.
Well, one thing I know Ahly will do today is come out of their shelf from minute 1 when the referee blows the whistle, because they also need a win badly. They don't know what will happen in the other group. Could that leave spaces for Medeama to capitalize? The likes of Derek Fojo, who are very quick to capitalize on the spaces that Ahly will leave at the back when they are pouring forward.
When you look at Medeama's team,
okay, so I'll come back to you, but this is the lineup of Medeama. So they are starting with goalkeeper Felix Che. Kamaradini Mahmoudou is also in there. Fatau Hamidou is also in there starting. Kobna Moa is starting for them. Baba Musa, the captain, in there. Jean of Vital Rega is also starting. Manuel Mante is in there. Nana Kofi Babel has a place in the starting 11. Then the chap that I was talking about, Derek Fojo, is also starting. Lobote, Daniel, and Bernardino Tete will be the men they'll be relying on to score the goals for them.
A strong lineup from Medeama Football Club. That is what I was talking about. It's all attacking team, because Kofi Babel, Derek Fojo, Lomote, Bernardino Tete are all attacking-minded players. It's only in Jean Vital Bamusa, typical holding midfielder. So, Emma Ahly for room for also to attack the Medeama team. That is where I think it should be a 3-man midfield rather than a 2-man midfield. But it's a home game. Medeama also here the maximum win to boost their chance of qualifying to the next round of the campaign. So it's a strong lineup, but they need to be careful and cautious when they are facing this Ahly team.
Of course, they need to be careful. So for Ahly, they have also named their starting 11, and that is Ofao Shobia, the goalkeeper, starting for them. Abdul Momin is also in there. Yassa is starting. Hani and Malul, who captain Tunisia in the just ended Africa Cup of Nations, is in there. El Swalia is in there as well. Karim Walid and Enam Ashua, the man who is regarded as one of the best midfielders on the African continent at the moment. El Shahat is also in there. Percy Tau from South Africa, and Anthony Modest, formerly of Borussia Dortmund, also in the starting 11 for Ahly. So let's go to the Barbara Sports Stadium, because Yawan Pofuankra, the head of sports for IMAX Media, is standing behind to tell us more about what is happening currently at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Yao, if you can hear me, how is the atmosphere like?
But I'll manage. I'll just give you a quick one. I have about 60 seconds to, do this. But as you can see, Ghana is heavily represented, not just in terms of the teams here, but you can see, obviously, our CAF officers, Juliet Abewa and Achampong. But let me quickly tell you about the atmosphere, Mutala, if you can still hear me. What is happening is that a lot of fans are outside trying to get in. But as far as here in the stadium is concerned, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's Ahly and it's Friday. Shops are closing a little bit early so that people can at least get inside and enjoy that. The fans here are saying that the last time they enjoyed Ahly was many decades ago. And one man actually said he was 10 years old and he's about 37 now or something like that, 47. So that's a long time ago. And the crowd is picking up. As I said, a lot of people outside the stadium hoping to get in. We have a handful of Egyptians, about 100. Remember, they came with 80 on that chartered flight. And the rest of those fans are coming from around Ghana, where Egypt has got interest. So, Utala, it is very interesting. We expect to get at least a quarter, if not half, stadium by the time kickoff or at least halftime comes through. It is noisy here because of the music and some Jama spots here and there. Dreams FC here to support. So too Asante Kotoko. Remember, Dreams play Club African this weekend, and they would want support from the fans.
Thanks very much for the updates there. So that is how Medeama made their way to the Barbara Sports Stadium, and that is how they got down from their bus. You saw the likes of Kofi Asma all coming down. They are poised for this one big game for some of these players. The likes of Derek Fojo would want to dazzle there. It's Diawisi Taylor. He doesn't have a place in the starting 11, but he is actually on the bench, and Medeama, I'm sure, will be counting on him at a point when the going gets tough for them. So that you see their new head coach, the Borja Copper, who has replaced Evans Adote. But this is the dressing room of Ahly as well. And there you see that number 22 JC Ashua there. Anthony Modest in there. Rabia is also ready for action. Actually, Ahly came with a full house. Apart from the likes of El Shanawi, who are not starting, almost everyone that matters in the Ahly setup is in Ghana. There you see their players coming from their bars there. They are confident that today would be a good day for them. And they say they didn't start the Champions League on a good note, but they've warmed themselves up into a Josiah.
Yeah, they don't want to put themselves under any sort of pressure. They are hoping that they can steal qualification even before, their last game at home. And it's very, very important that going into such a game, the penultimate, round of games, you'd approach it with all seriousness, because you can't just, risk everything now and then go into your last game where you don't know the outcome or the possible outcome of that one. And you're looking at Pesitawe and Anthony Modest. One played for Borussia Dortmund, the other played for Brighton, just recently. And these players, together are earning a combined salary of over, close to $200,000. That's quite huge. You just see the quality.
So unfortunately, our time is up. We have to join the feeder. But let me take your prediction. Nanedu, who wins this one?
A straight win for Ahly.
Josiah?
I'll have to go with a Medeama win. But you have to fight for it.
So let's cross over to the Barbara Sports Stadium for the first half of this game. It is Medeama taking on Ahly. Enjoy the first 45 minutes.
Match day 4. Well, which took place a lot earlier on for Yanga and Medeama. A 3-0 loss again there for the Ghanaian side. Very damaging for them in the standings. Meanwhile, Bluestad and Ahly were goalless again. No splitting those two sides.